Welcome, my Zentangle friends. I'm so glad you're here today to share a little winter joy and fun with me. I've got some exciting stuff planned. My students always say, you always say that, but it's true, I do. So I'm real excited to work with you today. Grab your supplies, whatever you like to use, of course. I would suggest that you're going to want a bigger, wider nibbed pen today. I'm going to use my 08 for this project that we're going to design today. I'll also need my usual pencil, and you may decide you want to have a chalk or some kind of a color today. And I'd suggest blue, but use what you have, right? Or maybe you don't want color at all, and that's just fine too. I'm going to use just a nice piece of Bristol paper today. This is 4" by 4", which is 10 centimeters squared. I will need my eraser. I certainly will need some energy here and there. And I'm going to need a circle maker, or this is a Pringles lid. I really like this because it has the dot in the middle, and so that I can put my dot on the paper and then make my circle quite easily. So if you have a Pringles jar that you don't know what to do with, and grab the lid if you can. Finish the snack. Anyway, I'm going to use, as you know, my trusty circle maker. So that's my Helix, and I will post a link at the end in case you don't yet have one. This is the most fabulous tool. If you do have one, you know what I'm talking about. To begin with, oh, I know, you want to know where we're going. Look, how fun is this going to be? Yes, I'm still stuck on my wonderful Anthem pattern. So I will be using Anthem, and I will be incorporating Duda into this. And this really doesn't have a name that I'm aware of, so I'm not going to call it anything. It's kind of like half a snowflake. So to begin with, I need to show you how to do these patterns. Here's another version of this that I quite liked, and I thought I'd show you this one, but then I ended up liking the Anthem drama more today. So anyway, choices, right? Choices are good. And if you want to take a screenshot of this, here's different kind of fun things you could put in the middle if you're not interested in doing Anthem. These are all very, very fun choices. I hope you've been able to screenshot that. And let's start with the name of the pattern. The first pattern I want to do with you is Anthem. And then Duda is on the job training. And so I don't think you're going to need anything fancy to do Duda. Anthem, you might have been with me on some of my other videos. You might know how to do Anthem as well. It's by Jody Genovese. And the way Anthem goes is this. You make a cone. From the cone, you put a cheat dot at the top. And then you connect the dot, and right around to the other side. The next thing I'm going to do with Anthem is I'm going to make a line down the middle and 2 lines off of each side that go down. You should make this your own. What I mean by that is I'm going to go round. I'm going to connect and touch that one, the one at the top, the stick that comes out on that side, and back down. So you could make this pointy or rounded, and either way is just fine. I'm also going to use a pattern called Fescue, which you may or may not have done before. This is a headquarters pattern again. Fescue is like this. It's a long stick with just a little ball at the top. It just adds a little bit of extra drama to our very fun pattern that we're doing today. So, ready for our tile. I'd like you to start with dots in the corner. We often start this way, don't we? Connect your dots wonky style. That means it doesn't have to be perfect. Don't worry about how straight your lines are. That really does not matter here at all. When you've created your dots and you've created your border, I'd like you to turn your tile to a diagonal right now. And let's do a line from the top or from the bottom to the top and intersect this entire tile. I want to go the other direction too. Get that in whatever version you want in front of you, from the top to the bottom or the bottom to the top. Divide it out. And then I'm going to come around here and I'm going to connect. I'm going to intersect and divide these quarters that I have. And I hope you can see this. I'm trying to make mine a little darker than I normally would so that you can see it on the camera for this fun tile that you're gonna do. I think I'd put this on a card and give it to somebody. I think it's gonna be really cool. The first thing I need to do is have a very small dot in the middle. So I have a dot already. And I'm going to use my helix. And you can use anything like a dime or any kind of a, just you see how I'm able to line this up with the helix though? That's why I like it so well. I'm able to line all these little parts up here and travel right around. It makes just a nice circle. Okay, the next one I want to do is larger. I want to do something, and again, I'm going to put the 0 right here in the middle. And I want to go back to about 1.5. Here's 1, here's 2, too big. So I'm going to come back, and I want to be sure that I'm careful here not to go too tight to this spot. So I'm going to come back to about 1.5, travel around, or use any kind of a tool that you have for this. Any kind will be just fine. Just get it on the page, right? So the first pattern I want to do today is called Duda, but to do that, I need to figure out how I'm going to hem it in. I'm going to do a wavy line, and I think I'll just go right over to pen with my 0 or my PN pen or whatever. Do a wavy line. This helps me so much with having this divided into the quadrants so that I can lift my pen periodically without having it show. Just make your wavy line all the way around. You're ending up with something like this. So you've already got a straight line on the outside and a wavy line on the inside, and now we need to make a second wavy line. So all I'm going to do is aura my first line. This is a very fun pattern, and we don't get to do Duda very often, but there is a use for it. And if you have a notebook that you put your favorite patterns in, Duda would be a great one to have. Now that I've got this, it's so pretty, isn't it? I want to put this fun Anthem pattern in here, and I could go between the lines or I could use the line. And I prefer to use the line. So I'm going to start here. Remember, I'm going to make a cone shape. I'm going to make a stick that goes out and a stick that goes out. I'm going to have a cheat dot at the top. And then I'm going to easily connect. I'm going to make a line that radiates down and a line on each side that do the same thing. And then I can start at the bottom and just make sure that all of these touch all the way around and back down. Whoop, and that one didn't quite touch. So let's do it again. A stick and a stick for my cone. Dot at the top for cheat to aim for. Line, 3 small lines. This Anthem pattern just seems like crystals to me and so wintry that I couldn't help but use it again, even though we've used it before with moonberries on the last pattern we did together. I guess I'm going to call this my crystal period. Everybody has things that they just can't get enough of. And for me, this is crystals. Ice crystals. Take your time, relax your shoulders. Take a deep breath in. This is my version of Calgon, Take Us Away. I think that one's a little short. Nice, 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 nice. I love it. I hope you do too. The next thing I'm going to do is put my fescue between these. I could put it off, like use the crystal, the side of the crystal, to keep it clean. But I kind of like the idea of just putting 1 or 2 of these between each of the crystals. I hope you are enjoying our winter weather wherever you are. It's been cold all over. And for some of us quite gray and others not so bad. So what I really want to do here is add a few whiskers all the way around, just to darken this up just a bit at the base. Oh, beautiful. Didn't it turn out nice? So grab your 08. Now we're going to do Duda, and we're going to do that all the way around here. Duda is, like I expressed to you on the job training, it ends up looking like this, and it's very easy and fun to do. So I'm going to start at the bottom, and I'm almost going to connect to the top, but not quite. Start at the top, almost to the bottom, and alternate like this. You can make these as wide or as narrow as you want. The trick is that every other one connects to the other region. They don't have to be tight together. And you'll notice that you have to keep turning your paper to keep your sticks pretty straight. I'll put some music on for us. That was fun. I love the look of this pattern, but it does need one more touch before it's finished. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a series of scallops. Watch a minute. So I'm going to start here on this side and scallop up and capture the bottom of that stick. And what I'm going to do is come back when I've finished and I'm going to darken all the way around so that these sticks have the illusion of being in that fun line. I hope that makes sense to you. So just capture them. And you see that I'm going over and up a little bit on those sticks that connect with the bottom. And you're welcome to pause me here. So now that I've got that all scallops, I'm going to go back and darken like this all the way around very quickly. And we'll meet up at the end in just a minute here. So I'm going to do the other side now in the very same way. I'm just the sticks that are connected to this wavy line here, and I'm going to make a series of scallops again. Hopefully I can make rolling scallops, and now you got the hang of it, so you know where we're going. Just continue to spin your tile. So now we've got them all in here. Let's go ahead and darken just like we did at the bottom half. And this will go quite quickly, so we'll meet up at the end here. So I hope you enjoyed your meditation time just as much as I did. So we are quite ready for a gorgeous border. I'm going to use my PN pen or a smaller pen, and I'm going to put a medium-sized circle or orb in the corner, and then I'm going to do this pattern that has a outward C or backward C, out, up, and then back on itself. Kind of a bit like a poinsettia leaf to me almost, except poinsettia leaves have two of these curves. And then the other way. Do it again over here on each of the four corners. And use that little cheat line that we made to help us out here. An orb, a backward C, and a backward C, back down. Same thing here, backward C, and a backward C. One more time. Largish orb, backward C, and back, and again. These can be any size you want, of course. And I was thinking what a fun border they would be, but I decided to go with something else instead. I decided to use the orb theme and orbs, different little version of dot dashes, just to get something to hem this cute little pattern in. Just about to get a ton of shading on here. So at some point, if you haven't grabbed your mint or your chocolate, whatever you have, grab it. I'm also going to put some largish orbs all the way around. In Zentangle land, they call them tipple. And I'm kind of going to do them a bit like bubbles, so there might even be two once in a while, or three. One seems to need a little more there. Large, small, medium. Whatever size appeals to you. And I really do think that I might like to have a little fescue in here to kind of replicate what I have going on in the middle. I think that that looks kind of lovely. Your choice, of course. Oh, that's so pretty and it's so sweet. So I have enough lines on here that I think I'm going to use my gum eraser and get a couple of them off. I don't need them now. I like my gum eraser because it doesn't leave any little divots anywhere. And I really don't know that I can use this shading like or foreshading like I like to do. So I think it might be just a little smarter to pick up a little bit wherever I can. Even though we don't always do that in Zentangle, we just really go with the shading that we have. So grab your pencil, whatever softest lead you have, and I'm going to go around First thing I want to do is get some shading around the outside of those anthems, the crystals. So I'm going to very carefully go around each one using my pencil like a shading tool for the graphite's sake, not a pencil. I don't want to treat this like a writing thing. I hope you can see that I almost have this on its side. I like to put all of my graphite on, and then I'll go back and put all and blend it all in with my tortillon or my blender stomp, whatever you'd like to call it. Beautiful. Now I want this to be a Zen button. To do that, I want to add some shading right along the inside here. I'm going really heavy and really tight. This will blend out real nice, you'll see, because I'm using a good quality cardstock that's about 60 pound weight. But I always experiment on my paper before I get started, because shading is really huge in these projects that you and I are doing together. So, and I can always add more. And I do have my eraser so I can get it off too. I want to go around here because I really have the idea that I want to lift my button up. To lift my mandala or my button up, I have to put shading quite close to the edge here. Again, I'm going real heavy. I don't know if you can see how heavy I'm doing this, but really adding a lot of pressure so that I get a lot of graphite out here. So some of my larger orbs and this one, I'm going to put a smile in here, but I'm also going to go right around the edge of it. Just tight. Do you see how I'm just going real tight with my shading? And then the orbs that are out here, I'm not worried about the light source. Sometimes we do, but in Zentangle, not so much. Just a bit of a smile on one side. I also like to put a little shading between these fun things, whatever they are, these fun little frond things. And while I'm at it, I'm going to add a little shading on the inside of this line that kind of hems in my design. I probably, and a lot of people do, I spend a lot of time getting ready to shade. It does end up going quite quickly when I'm ready to blend it. And I do have a little bit more that I'm going to do, but I'm going to do that with blue. So the next thing I'm going to do is grab my blender stump. And I'm going to start back here in the middle and push this around. Oh, pretty. I'm not too interested in spreading this out. I just want it to be tight around this fun Anthem crystal that I'm making. Now, shading's in the eye of the beholder. If you have something else in mind, please feel free to change it up to suit yourself, of course. I would be interested in seeing what you do, because I will learn something too. We always do, don't we? As long as we're not finished yet. So let's get some shading on this inside. I've got shading. Let's smudge and see if we can get this circular pattern to lift up a bit too. Trying to get any lines that I might have left softened and smudged, and it's real important I leave myself a little bit of white. This is a very small design. 4x4 is very small. This would be fun on a card for somebody, I think. Very sweet. Okay, I have my very fun button that I'm trying to create and have it lift off the page. Keeping in mind, I want a little bit of white here still. And I believe I'm going to have plenty of white. Don't bother trying to get any of the graphite on the black. It really doesn't take black very well, and you might have run into that already. Oh my, that's pretty, isn't it? It really does lift off the page. Let's go around the outside here. Just smudge enough so that this has the illusion of being hemmed in. I hope you can see that I am working pretty heavy again. A lot of pushing going on here. Oh my goodness, listen to me. Nice. Okay, I want to see if I can get anything out of this blue. And this is a different blue than I usually use. I usually would probably use my Prismas, but I'm going to get a little tiny bit of blue in each of these crystals. This is a pencil, a blue pencil, and it's very light, so it is going to be a very light blue. But I think that's quite lovely. I really didn't want to do too much with this. I did think I'd grab my chalk pencil, but apparently I didn't, so we'll see how this turns out. Isn't that sweet? I hope you can see it. I'm going to put a blue line right down the middle here. As you can see, I'm working pretty heavy. There's white on either side. And I'm hoping that this is going to help me with a rounded appearance. If it doesn't, I can add a little more shading just beyond the black, and then it will for sure. Let's have a look and see what we have here. If I add a tiny bit of shading here into each of these areas, then this will look more like a folded over ribbon. So I'm going to take just a second to get a little bit of this graphite on here into each of these areas. Goes fast. I do think I need this. So if you're like me, you might have to relax those shoulders again. That's it. Now let's do the inside too. There we go. Blender stomp. Just keeping it, as you can tell, very tight. But I just want to smudge that out a little. This will help me have with the illusion of having this be a rolling button. Oh my goodness, isn't it pretty? Oh my goodness, it's so pretty. Oh my goodness, I hope you love yours as much as I do mine. This has been a very, very fun project. Let me be sure to sign it, and I hope you will too, in some little spot somewhere. I have something I wanted to share with you today, because I do feel this is how we are, you and me. And at the end of the day, this is all we want, isn't it? Just to be happy and healthy and together. Thank you so much for taking the time. I'm very grateful to you, and I appreciate you spending the time with me and sharing this with other folks. I'll see you next week. Bye.